mean to sound crass, but that is the case. That is the truth. You know, who can we call in case we can't find you again? Stuff like that. So you'll go door to door. You'll be asked to leave. If we have to evacuate you, we will push you out beyond the area that we need to contain. You know, there are evacuation shelters that we're going to set up. You know, if it's bad enough, we may send you out of town. Head to Roswell, go down to Toohey, go somewhere else. You know, and so you must understand that the amount of resources that we will need to pull in, the amount of people, the amount of firefighters and police officers and National Guard, whatever the case may be, they're all going to be coming in. So we've got to get everybody out first. You know, and there are critical choke points. You all seen it. You drive around, you know, little bridges, just one lane, you know, 2 lanes. You know, it's going to be hard to get people through. You know, if your car breaks down, we may have to push it off into the ditch. You know, just to get people through to save the masses. But you may not be allowed to come back in, and the reason for that is not because we don't want to let you go back to your house. You know, it's because there's going to be fire equipment over there. They may have hoses running across the road. You can't run over the hose. You can't do this. We don't want somebody to get hurt. You know, so even if it means, you know what, I left my medicine at home. I have to go back. I have to have this medicine. I'm sorry, you're not coming through. You know, you'll have to go down to the hospital. You have to get this. And there are contingencies set up for things like that. You know, and as soon as it is safe for us to allow you back in, we will take you back in. We will escort you to your home so you can get more things. Nobody has ever truly 100% prepared for this, you know, when it happens, because it always happens when you're least expecting. You know, you're doing your hair, you know, you're out, you know, changing the oil in the car, you know, and something bad. So you've got to realize that when this happens, you need to act fast. All right. So again, the process to register is not that difficult, and I will be happy to sit down. I will come to your house and show you on the computer how to get this done. Whatever it takes to get you registered, so that, you know, we can call you if we need to, and that's the point of it. You know, if only half the population is using it, you know, only half are going to get calls. So anyway, are there any questions? No, no, that's great. I'm always there. Anyway, thanks.
I'm lucky to get to work with guys like this. And he really is that elegant. I mean, when he comes to your house, he will be polite. Okay.
Do you need a light on it there, Harlan?
I think, let's see if okay, I posted some of these pictures because this picture still gives me chills. Because, you know, that's right in our backyard. And that fire happened so fast. And, you know, we run queries on our computers all the time. And our boys they have an average scene time anywhere in the city, anywhere in this village, with about 3.5 minutes. That's pretty rapid. A lot of people can't even use the bathroom in 3.5 minutes. And our guys are getting out of bed, getting down to their trucks, and they're at your house in 3.5 minutes. This one right here was 3 minutes and 57 seconds, I believe is what it was. And when the duty officer called me, he told me that 2 houses had already gone up. It started right there behind K-Bob's. We had 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds gusting up to 65. And this was in a treated area that Mr. Cook had done a prescription in. So can you imagine what it would have been like if there wasn't a prescription done in there? So this was 10 acres. We lost 9 houses. However, there was some good come about it, because we don't focus on the houses that we lost. We focus on all the houses that we saved. And thanks to the U.S. Forest Service, thanks to, well, I mentioned them all here pretty quick, but everybody that's, you know, Mescalero, the county, U.S. Forest Service, State Forestry, everybody staying together. We had probably 40 apparatus and at least 60 people on that scene within 20 minutes. And they surrounded that thing, and with the help of the Forest Service, We had, in the BLM, we had 2 seats out there at the airport that were doing a treatment on the white fire. And we also had a helicopter in the area that was doing some project work. So, you know, there was some calls that were made by the Forest Service, and we had access to that aircraft, and that helped us out a ton. One thing I wanted, as we go through these slides, I've put a lot of stuff in there because I want everybody to understand just exactly how dynamic how dynamic it is for us to respond to a scene and set the game up. And when we set things up, it's not like we just get in the trucks and get the trucks there and start putting fire out. There's so much coordination that it's almost mind-boggling. And if you get behind, it's really hard to get caught up. So with the help of everybody, you know, we make good things happen. That last picture that I just had on there, that house, the back deck was on fire. Our officers are beating on the front door, and that family was in that house. And they had no idea that their house was on fire. And everybody got out. And there was a grandma and I think 2 kids, maybe 3, and a dog, something like that. And even the little dog got out. I don't think we ever caught him. What was the response from the community leaders? You know, that's one thing I have to say about Ruidoso is all of our community leaders, they want to make sure that things are getting done. They want to make sure that the response is right. They want to make sure that we're getting the word out. And how did this response affect the outcome of the incident? Only 9 homes and only 10 acres. And when you talk about 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds going right up a chute canyon, and there was probably another 150 or 200 homes on the backside of it, and it was spotting, you know, 200 or 300 feet at a time. It's a nail biter, folks, I'm telling you. That's why I got this stress weight. Initial attack on this fire was, one thing we know when we pull out onto Sudreth, we just saw it the other day on the Carrizo fire, and yes, it was only 2.5 acres, and I will credit the guys that responded on that. U.S. Forest Service, they're listening up, so we had Smoky Bear there, we had Ruidoso Downs fire there, we had Ruidoso there, and they surrounded that thing, but whenever I pulled out of the fire station, you could see the column. So it's, you know, it's serious business. So we know that whenever we see something like that, all these people, we have to start getting all of our resources there, because like Sergeant Harrison said, there's only 20 of them. Well, there's only 6 of us on duty during the day, if you're lucky, and sometimes only 4. That's our minimal manning. Now we do bump it up to 6 men a day, 6 firefighters a day on our initial response, and everybody else, they're carrying their pagers, and when we hit the easy button, we call that the all-call button, everybody comes in, it's all hands on deck, and until we get the fire out. But you have your local fire departments, which is us, we have your VFDs, which the county and Ruidoso Downs, New Mexico State Forestry, our law enforcement. There's a lot of work that has to be done with blocking of roads and evacuations and knocking on doors. The emergency notification system, so we have to get that in place right away. Emergency management out of the county, they come over. Our emergency management here in the Ruidoso area. Then we have our P&M people. And a lot of people don't think about that, but man, you know, when you have a fire going up and you have poles down and wires down, it's real hard to get apparatus crossed over and making sure that everybody's trained that there's 7,500 volts right there, and it's a one-step where you get into it and it's over. Zia Natural Gas, when you have houses like up here at the Swallow Fire, I saw a lot of it on the Little Bear Fire with the propane. Those valves, they melt off and you just have straight, it's just blowing out as hard as it's coming in. So we have to get them out to take care of that. There's Baja, Windstream. Do you see how dynamic that's starting to get? And you have to start making those decisions really fast. And that's why we try to rely on each other. And if I didn't say, Joe Kenmore so Sergeant Harrison is the guru of our mapping and our emergency notification system. He's the guru of communications. If you need to talk to someone in Beijing, he's your man. He can get on his little ham radio and he can talk anywhere you need to talk. So we set up a joint command, and our joint command consists of what we have with the Forest Service, since most of Ruidoso is surrounded by Forest Service, is we go into a unified command, and when we get on scene, we'll take command of it. We'll start getting things set up. As the Forest Service shows up, and I'll tell you, that's what they specialize in, is the vegetation. What we specialize in is the structures. And when you take two specialties and you merge them together, you got a really good product. And I would say that that's why only 9 houses and 10 acres burned up there, because that went into play, everybody merged, and things were really happening quickly, and we got that fire put out pretty fast. And of course we have our partners from Ruidoso Downs, from Lincoln County, the U.S. Forest Service. Well, whenever you get all that, you see how many people starting to get there? Well, you think we can all talk on one channel? Don't work. It gets so crowded, and it gets so crazy, and you're trying to order something, and you can't get through because there's too many people on the radio. And we drill on this all the time about getting our TAC channels and our frequencies right, to where everybody is operating on the right frequencies, and the frequencies are not tied up, so that when we do order stuff, you know, we're able to get through. We have our Ruidoso dispatch, which just absolutely gets inundated with calls. Can you imagine how many? I was going to tell Sergeant Harrison, there's 8,900 water meters in Ruidoso. So that means, I don't know how many people's going to be here in the summer. A lot of people come in, because about 66% of our houses are second homeowners, but they all come in for the summer. And when something bad's happening, people want information. They want to be talked to, and let me tell you folks, I've had my skin ripped off for not talking to people. So that's one thing that's on my mind. The first thing is we've got a public information officer, and I'm letting her know within the first 15 minutes of what we have going on. And in that first 15 minutes, she will have it on the radio stations, and you'll be hearing something. So we have told everybody that we will let them know for the first 15 minutes. We'll give you a brief every 15 minutes for the first hour, and then we're going to give you an update every hour on the hour until we start to get things under control. So all you have to do is tune over to 102.3, and what they've told me is that community radio station, when we put that plug in, it will just wrap right around until we get things under control. So if you miss half the message, stay tuned. It's coming right back around, and you'll hear what's going on. Leadership responsibilities. My responsibilities here is the first person that I call is the village manager, because she's fixing to start getting inundated as well, especially with our elected officials. So she talks to the elected officials. I talk to her, she talks to the elected officials, and keeps everybody in the know. Because those elected officials, they all have constituents, and those constituents will be calling them, and as long as you have them prepared to answer questions, everybody's good. If you don't have them in the know, then everything, it's not that good. You're probably going to get in a little bit of trouble come Monday morning. So then we make sure Ruidoso Emergency Management is contacted, so we can start setting up shelters. If Ruidoso Emergency Management is not available, then I'll be calling on Joe. And Joe and I, we have a relationship. He'll come over and help us. We'll go over and help him, because when we're in those areas like that, if it's in his area, he's going to be really busy, and I have a lot to offer him. And whenever, it goes back and forth. So then, a professional courtesy. If we have something going on here, most of our fire is headed straight north. So what's straight north? The county. So we let the county manager know, we let Joe know, and that's a professional courtesy, so they can start preparing their folks. Then we start getting a hold of the Red Cross. depending on how big this incident starts to happen, because we have to have a place to start putting everybody. Can you imagine having to, let's just say, if there's 8,900 water meters, we've got 3,000 people signed up, where are we gonna put 3,000 people? Well, we got a place for you, we really do. It's gonna be a little crowded, but we got a place for you. Evacuation centers, animal shelters, and I know that there's people here, animals, is there animal people in here? Well, those animals are kind of an extension of your family, and you want to make sure that they're right, so we've got that set up with our animal control through the Reynosa Police Department. We've got a little bit of grant money for portable cages and stuff that they have up there, and we can start, you know, gathering pets up in the neighborhood when we need to. And then also, we need to make sure that we notify our partners at the state, which is New Mexico Department of Homeland Security, and the EOC up there, because they need to be in the know, because they have a lot to offer as well. Does everybody know what this is? Have you seen them in Reynosa? You're going to start hearing a little campaign that we have, and it's called the Sound of Safety. And this thing, when it goes off, it is horrendous. It rattles the windows on your car, it rattles them on your house, and it has an articulating head, and it goes around for 30 seconds, and when it's going off, if it's going off any other time than the 1st or the 15th of every month at 5 o'clock, if it's going off at any other time, things are serious. We don't just test them arbitrarily. We make sure it's on the 1st and the 15th at 5 o'clock. When that thing goes off, that means that there's probably something bad going on, and it's usually a fire. We don't even usually hit them when there's a flood. We did hit them during the 2008 flood because it was so severe. But normally it's going to be a fire. Evacuations, when, why, and who makes the call. It's whenever you hear Sergeant Harrison talking about when he knocks on the door, did it sound like he had a little bit of experience?
Yes.
He had a lot of experience from the positive all the way to the negative. From the people that left, all the way to the butt chewings that he received. And all the officers there at the station, because people are so revved up. It's not that they want to be disrespectful, it's not that they want to be honoring, it's just that it's so real. It's real right now, and you have a decision to make right now. Get out, or you stand your ground. And if you stand your ground, when you stand your ground, you might save your house, you might lose your life, one of the two. And, you know, we're pretty passionate about our citizens, and we would rather you get out. And we don't want to displace anybody, we don't want to get you out if it's not serious enough, but we're probably seeing something that you're not seeing, and that's why we want you out. So, evacuations, when, why, and who makes the call? It's usually during a fire, it's usually because of a fire, and either myself or the duty officer that's in charge will be making that call to evacuate. The way that clock is set up over there is we will start evacuating people, and then we will start putting people on standby. So this bunch of people might get the call to evacuate, this bunch of people might get the call to be on standby, start getting things ready, because if we have a trigger point and it gets to that trigger point, then we need you to go ahead and leave. And we'll put the next set of people on standby if we can't get a handle on the fire. Transition to an incident management team, and why? It's real. This is the best definition I could come up with. If the complexity of the incident is going above and beyond the capabilities of the local jurisdiction, then the request will be made to order an incident management team. We still have day-to-day responsibilities. There's still people that are having possibly structure fires. There's still people having strokes and heart attacks. There still are elderly folks that fall down that we have to go help. So we have to get back to day-to-day business. When an incident management team comes in, if you haven't been around one, they are so professionally dialed in that they make everything come together. We get funding for it. We get leadership out of it. And one thing that I want to say to the Ruidoso citizens is I'm not gonna take a back seat if a team comes in. I'm still gonna be the face of the fire department. I'm not gonna be dictated to. I will still have a lot I'll still have a lot of say on what goes on in the village. They're just here to help. They're not here to take over. And just a real quick, I don't know, does anybody have a problem with federal people being in the village? I got my butt chewed the other day on a call. We had a house, and I'm going to tell you this because you're going to see it in the paper. We have a medical call at a house, which ended up transitioning into some drugs, which ended up transitioning into some bomb ordinance, and we had a citizen that was just really upset that the ATF was here. And if I ever offend anybody by having the feds come in and take away a bomb, please come to my office and let me know that I've offended you so I can fix that problem. But you know, I mean, our intentions is to keep you safe. Our intentions is not to offend anybody. Special needs and issues that will arise with evacuations. Security. When we're getting people out, we're going to have security in place. And I know that there's people, we ran them out for 3 days on the Swallow Fire. And I call them the scumbags that want to go in and rummage through people's belongings after they just had their fire, or their house burned down. That's the worst possible thing, and that offends me. So we put our security in place, and depending on how big the event is, we have access to guardsmen. The governor's she's always been good to us. And anytime that we need to get extra security, which they'll send National Guard people down, we'll set them up. We did it during the 2008 flood, and we'll do it on anything that we ever have here. We will make sure that security is in place. People with special needs, if you have left your house hasn't burned, and you have to have the medications out of there, we will figure out a way to get your medications. If we can't get your medications, we have a pharmacist. That pharmacist will get you some medications if you have to have them. I don't make this a joke. This is serious business. When somebody leaves, you don't realize what you leave. You might leave your meds. You might leave, I want to tell you the most thing that I pick up that I go back and get for people is dentures. And after we give them those dentures, there's some kind of a bond that's formed between me and them. And, you know, when we see each other, we just smile at each other. Pets that were left at home, you know, people will just sit there and worry and grieve themselves to no end if they know their pets are inside and they can't get out. We can assist with that as well. Hazardous materials. A lot of the reasons we don't let people go back in, and I heard some of it during the Little Bear fire. We do not keep people out intentionally. I promise that. There is all kinds of nasty stuff that happens whenever a fire goes through, and when somebody's house burns down, or their woodshed, or their shop, there is so many hazardous materials, carcinogens that cause cancer, arsenics that get in the air, and when you're in there breathing them, they're going to it can make you sick. So that has a lot to do with it. Okay, this is another important one. I've got about 4 minutes. I've got to slip through this pretty quick. Citizens that were evacuated want to go home. Will think they could have protected their homes better with firefighters. I always say this: don't have any regrets. No regrets. If we ask you to leave, and you come back and your house has been burnt, no regrets, because you're still safe. Because we might be going back in there and you might be in your house. So no regrets. When you get ready to make a decision, I don't care what decision. I even make that decision whenever I tell my daughter she don't have to be home till midnight. No regrets. So if something happens, no regrets. I Not shoulda, coulda, woulda, no regrets. We want you, we know you want answers, and we will get you answers. Make sure security's present. We'll have security there. Try not to become impatient. We know that it's not personal. You just want to go home. And boy, our police officers, they really got their tails chewed on that last fire. One thing that I will tell you, we will always be honest with you. I will. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for everybody. I'll always be honest with you. If you ask me something, I'll tell you the truth. Might not be the most popular thing, but I promise you I'll tell you the truth. We'll set up as many public meetings as we think is needed, or even if you think is needed. Because we want you to be in the know, we want you to be informed. We'll start them on time. We'll tell you the facts. And safety is the first priority, no matter what. We'll explain what's happening. And we do not like to give an estimated time of opening things, because then I'm not being truthful to you. If I tell you we're going to open up at noon tomorrow and something broke out, then I'm not being truthful to you. So I really don't like to give time frames on that. Joe, Mr. Counselor Eby, I couldn't find a picture of you or you'd be up there.
That's why I had to show up.
This is Counselor Eby right here. Anyway, I tried everywhere. I looked everywhere. I couldn't find a picture of you. But, you know, you think these people right here are going to make sure things are getting done? I guarantee you they are. Every single one of them, they want to make sure that things are getting done. This is the, do I have any media people in here, Chris? Oh, good. Okay, so local press and media will cover, they'll want to cover all your local human interest and issues, and will want special access to the fire. Don't have a problem with that. It's on the other side. Statewide and national media, they want to come in and capture drama. Everybody likes drama, and they want to capture the emotion. And they want to spin this to the negative, and I can't stand that. Because it's not really we didn't cause the emergency, we're just here to help, and we're here to help you. And let's spin that to the positive side. So if it ever happens, and you know, we need to encourage people to, I'm not trying to tell you to be bubbly and positive because we have a fire and your house is in danger. But, you know, something like, you know, the guys are doing all they can. You know, we know that our interest is their interest. We know that things are going to be as good as they can possibly be. Okay, now I'm going to slip through this pretty quick. The Cree Fire 2000, the Trappan Ski 2001, Kokopelli 2002, Pepin 2004, White 2011, Little Bear 2012, and I forgot to put the Swallow in there. You see a little pattern there? Every 1 or 2 years, and there's a little bit of space, and then we start having them again. That's the trend. Fires are getting larger. They're getting started earlier. Everything you had to say. Everything you had to say. I don't really want to preach doom and gloom as well, because I'm a praying type guy, and I think that it's going to rain this year. It's going to stay wet. Fires are becoming more destructive because we're building more stuff in the interface. Fires are becoming more erratic. I know that's not Reynosa, but I couldn't resist it. That right there is defensible space, my friends. You can't water your grass here. I thought that was kind of funny too. But green, everything's good. That's the way it's supposed to look. How am I doing, Mary? A little over?
We're going to need to wrap up. We're a little over.
Okay. Everything that Mr. Cook told you last week, that's what I'm saying now. The Zone 1, everything 30 feet, get it right. Zone 2, 100 feet, make sure you get that right. There's a little illustration of what it's supposed to look like. And Mr. Cook's is way more extravagant than that. The Zone 1 and Zone 2 is what we care about. And he's before you get your certificate of compliance, you're going to have to come up with a lot more. Okay, the ready? Everything that's on the rest of these slides is in your book. So I'm going to slip through these pretty quick and answer some questions and show you some stuff about that book, and then we'll be done. That's the set part. That's the go part. Took up all my time, Joe. Initial incident notification. That's what, our location, jurisdiction, resources needed. That's the